Today, I have a 20-minute dinner idea for you that everyone's gonna love. I'm gonna tell you how to make pepper steak on the skillet. Hi, my name's Christina. I'm with eatingonadime.com. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm usually in my sister Carrie's kitchen, but today I'm in my kitchen. I am gonna show you guys how to make our amazing new recipe. It's pepper steak. I'm actually making this for my family for dinner tonight because we love it and it's super easy. And the best part is it takes about 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on how fast your stovetop cooks. So this is a complete skillet recipe that's ready in minutes and everyone is gonna love it. And you're gonna love how easy it is to make. All right, let's get cooking. First up, let's chop these veggies. So in a classic pepper steak, it's called pepper steak because it has bell peppers in it. So for our recipe, I like to use one red bell pepper and one green bell pepper, and then one onion. I'm using a white onion, but you can use a yellow or even a red, I think would be delicious in this recipe. And on the bell peppers, you can use your favorite colors. I love the red ones. They are my favorite. And the green ones, they're pretty good and they're more affordable, but you can, again, use whatever. The orange are great, the yellow are great. If you have some bell peppers that are about to go bad, use those as well. So first we are gonna slice these. I'm peeling the onion. I just cut the ends off on the onions and then peel it. Then I cut the onion in half. So we have two halves. And then I'm just going to slice these. And I like to go around with the arc of the onion to make sure we get the whole thing completely sliced. And you can do the thickness or the thinness just based on your preference. I like mine pretty thin. And if you have anyone that's sensitive to onions, feel free to just leave it out. That's fine as well. So I'm gonna do the other half as well. And we have a whole YouTube video on how to cut onions. If you've never cut one before, don't be shy. We've all been there. And you know, I don't have the best knife skills, but I'm still making it. So even if you're not like a knife pro in the kitchen, we can still get this done. So the onions are sliced. I'm just keeping them in a bowl until we're ready to cook them. And now it's time to slice up those bell peppers. So when I slice a bell pepper, what I like to do is just cut the sections off of the pepper. And I wanted to show you guys this up close, just like that. And if you go along the pepper, you can turn it and just cut the sections off as much as possible. And I try to get it right there by the membrane so I can cut that off as well. Discard the middle. And then you have your sections, and then I just slice these sections from here. I'm curious how you guys do it. Do you do it the same? Do you do it different? Let me know in the comments below. If you see any of the membrane, you can just take your knife and slice it off. Some people don't mind it. I think Carrie doesn't mind it, but just for the sake of the video, I'm going to show you guys. And remember, this is the knife that Carrie and I love. If you guys are new to our site, we love this knife. We're not big on like having multiple knives, just have like one really good one that does everything. And this is definitely that really good one. Okay, so we're just going to get these all sliced up. Some people cut them the long or the short way. They cut them like this. But this is the way I've done it when I've sliced it, and it works great. Okay, I'm just gonna add those to the bowl with the onions. And then I'm just doing the same thing with the green bell pepper as well. I cut the ends off into sections and then just slicing each section from there. And that one looks pretty good already. Okay, again, use any color that you like. We're gonna go ahead and set that aside, and then we will get the steak ready next. Now it's time for the steak. I am using flank steak for this recipe. You can use any type of steak that you like. It's about 1.5 pounds and it'll feed about 6 people. Now, if you wanna trim any fat off, you can. I'm gonna trim off a little bit. I know some people feel differently about that. I'm not a huge fan of it, but you do you. And then here's the key with your steak. I'm gonna go ahead and get this little fat part off as well. I don't like super fatty. My husband, if he was home, he would be mad that I cut that off. So you guys just keep my little secret, okay? Because he loves the fatty part. Okay, so here's the key when slicing this. You want it against the grain. So when I say grain, you see these little lines in it. You want to slice it against it, and that's going to make it tender when you cook it. It's very important to slice it that way. I like to do thin slice, and I keep them pretty long. If you want them shorter bite size, you can. For traditional pepper steak, I keep it like into pretty long, thin slices. And then if it's going against the grain, it should get nice and tender when we cook it up. I have just a little bit left of this steak to slice up. I like every bit of it except for the fat, you know. Okay, and then we're going to get this over to the skillet. Now, when going to the skillet, I am gonna look at some of these bigger pieces and I'll just cut them in half. I recommend you get everything close by. So get all the ingredients out. I've linked this recipe in the description below so you can print it out or have it pulled up on your tablet or your computer and get everything out. Because once it starts cooking, this is gonna go pretty quick, so you don't have time to be running to your cabinets and grabbing all the ingredients. All right, let's get this cooking, friends. Heat a large skillet over medium-high heat. Then we're gonna add to the skillet 1 tablespoon of olive oil. You can use any type of oil that you like to cook with. Olive oil is just my favorite. Once the oil is nice and hot, add those veggies. We're gonna saute these for about 3 to 5 minutes until they're a little tender and they start to brown, because that's gonna give them all that flavor. You just wanna toss them every minute or so, just so it gets browned evenly on the veggies. Just go ahead and start tossing them. You should smell like, it almost smells like fajita vegetables when you go to like a restaurant. You should start to smell it and you'll start to see it brown, and the veggies are gonna get a little bit tender. Now cook them to the tenderness that you like. If you like super soft, cook them a bit longer. And if you like them to be pretty crunchy in your pepper steak, then don't cook them quite as long. For me, I'm gonna do a little bit longer. They're starting to brown, but I want them a little bit more tender. Okay, the peppers and the onions are nice and tender and brown. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just remove them from the skillet. Back to that separate plate. I'm just using the same one because we don't have to worry about cross-contamination with veggies. So we're good there. Once you get the veggies out of the pan, add a little more olive oil to that pan. We didn't talk about the skillet earlier. I'm just using a large skillet. Mine's a non-stick, but you can use your favorite, and a cast iron will work good as well. So we're gonna go ahead and heat this back up. It shouldn't take long at all. Once it's nice and hot, add the flank steak to the skillet. Season the steak with a ½ teaspoon of black pepper. Now we're gonna cook this steak on medium-high heat until it's browned and cooked through. I like to get it in a single layer and let it sit there and cook for a few minutes and then toss it. It's probably gonna take about 5 to 7 minutes total to cook this all the way through. While the steak is back there cooking, we're gonna go ahead and get the sauce ready so it's ready to add in once that steak is done. To make the sauce, start with a ½ cup of soy sauce. This is the one that I'm using. You can use your favorite. This is low sodium. I generally go for low sodium because I find soy sauce to be pretty salty, but just do based on your preference. And if you're gluten-free, soy sauce is not gluten-free, so you'll probably need to use like coconut aminos. I love the flavor of that, and it's a really good alternative for all my gluten-free friends out there. So ½ cup of soy sauce into a small mixing bowl. Then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, a little sweetener to give the sauce a little salty, a little sweet. 2 tablespoons cornstarch. This is going to help thicken the sauce when we get it into the pan. And then just a little bit of cold water. We're doing a 1/4 cup of cold water. You just want to whisk it together in your bowl until the cornstarch and the sugar is nice and dissolved. I'll show you guys a close-up, don't worry. It smells like stir fry already, which is my favorite. You can see how that cornstarch and the sugar is completely dissolved, and it makes a perfect sauce for this pepper steak. Now let's check on our steak. It's starting to brown. You can see some pieces are brown, but I want it like nice and, I don't want to say charred, but I want it to have a nice sear. That's the word I want. So I went ahead and turned up the heat. I'm going to give this a good toss. It looks like it's releasing some excess liquid, which is pretty normal. So we're just going to cook off that excess liquid so we can get a nice sear on our steak here. Cooking up well, the excess liquid has cooked off, which is great. And now you can see this is the brown. I'm going to show you guys up close here that I like to see right there. You got to let it set and not move it for a minute to get that nice brown coloring on the steak, and it adds a ton of flavor. So now that that excess liquid has kind of cooked off of that, I'm getting some of that, which is great. I'm going to let it cook just a little bit more, just to get a little bit more on the other side, and then we'll finish it up. The steak is nice and brown and beautiful. Now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. You don't want to add this at the beginning because there's nothing worse than burnt mixed garlic. And then we're adding in 1/4 of a teaspoon ground ginger. And then just toss that to coat it. And we're going to let it cook for about a minute so you can start to smell the garlic. Then we'll get everything else added. Again, you want to watch it closely because you don't want to overcook that garlic. The sauce has thickened up nicely. And then it's ready to serve. I love just serving this over white rice, and it tastes amazing. Okay, it's ready. I made some just steamed white rice. I love jasmine rice. That's what I go for. And I'm going to serve it over that. Oh, it looks amazing. Now the sauce is going to thicken more as it sits. So if your sauce is not thickening up, don't worry. Just kind of set it off of the heat and it will thicken up more as it sits there. You can top it with sesame seeds if you want. My family's not a huge fan of that, so I'm just going to serve it just like that. Look how beautiful it looks. I can't wait to dig in. Okay, time for my favorite part, taste testing. Okay, I'm going to get some rice, some of those peppers, onions. Looks amazing. It is so good. I think the sauce is my favorite part. It gets nice and thick and it coats the peppers and the onions and the steak, and it is packed with flavor. Okay, friends, I'm out of here. It's officially dinner time. Thank you guys so much for joining me today in my kitchen. I hope I inspired you to make an easy, delicious dinner at home. All right, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss one of our easy and delicious recipes. And until then, I hope that you always eat at home by eating on a dime. I'm out of here. Bye, friends.